Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 58. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Will each and every week, and we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states,
it's just basketball.
Man, it feels good to say that.
It's like Christmas Eve, but better.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are less than 24 hours away from, I don't want to do the exact math because, math isn't my thing.
We're like 14 hours away.
Yeah.
14 hours away from being in person, catching a live basketball game that counts your official record.
Not just a live basketball game. The first live basketball game of the season.
That's what's important to me.
That's all that matters. That's all I care about, really.
It's just so fitting that IU-Indy opens up the season. It's just like, it's perfect. The first game, standalone game for an hour until the noon games start, and we get to be there. We were kind enough, IU-Indy was kind enough to invite us to the game to actually come and attend in person. So it'll be us, some other, adult fans, and then like
about 4,000 third graders.
Yeah, which is such a cool thing that they do, man. The readers become leaders. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool that they do that. So it'll be nice because I love listening to the game, like, watching it and hearing the third graders, because it's just such a different environment. But being live in person is going to be just electric.
Yeah, we don't know where our seats are. We will find out when we get there. But part of me hopes that we're just engulfed in third graders, but also part of me hopes that we're not, just because
we're deep in the trenches.
Yeah. So we'll see what the vibes are like. But it's gonna be a great game because it's a fresh, clean slate, new coach, new team name, new team. Same old Jags that we know and love.
Yeah. But we have a comment here that says, he can't go because it's 11 a.m. on a Monday. That should be an exempt time from class. You know what I mean?
I think so. We all know. I guess we don't all know. I should reel that back a little bit. Indiana fans, fans of the Indiana Hoosiers know that Coach Signetti sent an email out to all the students several weeks ago saying that they could study later. I kind of wish that Coach Crosaro, emailed the student population saying, "Hey, here's your teacher's your class note."
Coach Sig did win some games before he sent that email. To be fair,
Crosaro also has won a lot of games.
Yeah, just under a different name, a different school. But season 2.
It is officially season 2.
Season 1 was 57 episodes. More than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think we were going to hit 52. I didn't think we were going to hit 52 in a year, because I was like, I know we'll take some weeks off in the off season. And
it helps that we backloaded and our caboose of the season was 2 to 3 episodes a week. So that made it a little easier to get to that.
I caught up a little bit, but I think that's what it's all about. You got anything you want to say before we get into it?
I'm excited. Thanks to all of our fans and followers. Love the show. We love the show. We love all of our listeners and viewers. Share it with a friend. Share your love for our episodes with your family and friends so that they can also support us and learn about the great state of Indiana.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're closing in on 100 subscriptions on YouTube. So we are like 30 or so away. That's more than I thought we were going to get in a year again. When you start something like this, you just kind of hope that one person listens, and that person's usually your mom. So shout out to Mom for being a loyal listener. But season 2, we got some upgrades. So yeah, I'm excited about those. I'm excited about all the things we did in the off season, all the great people we talked to, all the coaches, all the former players, current players, Big Ten Network analysts. So if you
Commentators.
yeah, yes, big time commentators, right?
Yeah, don't forget about the Onion Man.
Onion. So if you want to check any of those out, just go to our YouTube and click on the playlist, right? Or
Yeah. If you
search.
go to the playlist tab on our channel, we decided to make it easier for our viewers to find old episodes. So there's categories for everything. All of our weekly recaps from last season are under a very eloquently named playlist. There's a coach interviews playlist, player interview playlist, and then I think additional interviews or other interviews, and those are people like Rayfield Davis and Paul Oren, who was our very first guest on the show way back when. So made it easy for you to find, so you can check that out on the playlist tab on our YouTube channel. And if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you just search it.
You scroll. Scroll.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not as user friendly as YouTube, but if you are an audio listener and do want to quickly find those episodes, you can also go to our YouTube channel and click play, and you don't have to watch. You can listen just from YouTube. So,
well, that's enough. That's enough of that. Let's start talking about some Indiana, the state of Indiana, right?
Yeah. Let's our first power rankings of the season.
Mm-hmm.
These are very, very, very much preseason power rankings, right? Not a single game has been played. A lot
Officially.
of these teams officially, yeah. A lot of these teams retooled their team, made some changes, brought some people in. So we had to use our best judgment. And before we get into those rankings, we want to have a big shout out to Crow's Nest Coffee, who is the official sponsor of our power rankings segment. Crow's Nest is owned and operated by Elliot Crow, who is a friend of the show. He also has his own kind of segment focusing on mid-majors, primarily Bracket Busters. So you can find him on Twitter and Instagram under the Bracket Busters name. But he was so gracious to offer us and on our listeners a 15% coupon code on every order. You can order every day. You get the same 15%. You just have to use promo code TSOB.
Yeah, I told him our goal is to get so many orders sent in that he has to make that his full-time job. So we'll see. But yeah, so if you want some coffee, it's good coffee, and he's a good guy. So support him, support us. TSOB is the promo code. So check that out if you need some coffee.
An Evansville alum.
Yep.
Born and raised there. Loves the team. So if you're an Evansville fan and want to support Elliot as well, Crow's Nest Coffee. And he'll be the official sponsor of the power ranking segment all season long.
So is this like an arena thing where it's like, Jersey Mike's Arena? Is it like the Crow's Nest power rankings, or is it the State of Basketball power rankings presented by Crow's Nest Coffee Roasters?
State of Basketball power rankings presented by Crow's Nest Coffee.
We'll have to look at the contract.
Yeah, and more than likely you'll start seeing that pop up on our graphics that we make and post every week. But let's get into the power rankings. Like I said, it was tough. It
physically pained me to do this with you. Not because I was with you. I mean, let's work on
that language a little bit.
I'm physically pained to be with you, regularly, but like this was a little bit extra. But Jaren, you're the power rankings guy. This is your thing. Let her rip, man.
All right.
Let's just rip off the Band-Aid because people are going to be happy and more people are probably going to be mad. So let's just rip it off.
All right. So starting off, I want to go in reverse order.
Season 2, man. Sometimes things change. Sometimes you just keep playing the hits. It's up to you.
Let's work backwards. Let's work up towards who we think is the number one team. So starting out at what?
I feel like, that would definitely be appropriate for this time because if you haven't seen it, you don't know. But last year it was like number 1 was never a surprise.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I want to, because it is things might look a little different if you haven't seen our social media lately.
Mm-hmm.
So number 11 is Indiana State.
That is the one that physically pained me the most. Just
Yeah.
how much
There's a lot of uncertainty.
going from what 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were consistently at number 2 last season.
We just want to see it.
Yeah, that's all we.
And we have full faith, but it's just like that one to me and you, I think, has the most unknowns.
Yep.
So we just kind of like a wait and see approach.
Yeah, for sure. Number 10, IU-Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of the same boat. Those two, I think the reason they were so hard is because they are completely brand new teams.
Yeah.
Brand new coaches, brand new teams. They're only 2 schools that had as much turnover as they did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 9 is Evansville, the Aces.
I thought they were going to be 1 because we're sponsored. That segment is sponsored by a Evansville grad, but good on us for sticking to our convictions.
Number 8 is Southern Indiana, the Screaming Eagles. Number 7, Ball State University, Cardinals. Chirp, chirp.
Jaren's alma mater.
My alma mater. Number 6, Valpo.
And this is a good time to say that we did these rankings assuming everyone on every roster was completely healthy.
Yes. And we will elaborate that a little bit later when we talk about Valpo, I believe. Yeah. Number 5, Purdue Fort Wayne. I think Purdue Fort Wayne started last season at number 5 too.
Well, they were at 2 in our. We did the week 1 rankings after week 1. We never did a preseason last year, and so they were number 2 because they knocked off DePaul. We were like only Power 5 win, only like true road win.
Yep,
got to be number 2.
Yeah. Number 4, Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Number 3 is Butler.
Be a good year. Could be a good year.
Could be a great year for the Dogs. Number 2, Purdue.
That's the first time they have not been at 1 in our rankings.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. And if you're keeping track, marking little checks next to school names, that means that number 1 is Indiana.
So first time they've been number 1. Yeah, I mean, do we want to talk about why they're in the position now, or do we just want to talk about it more when we talk about the teams?
Let's talk about it now. We can just kind of go. We talked through kind of why we think IU-Indy, Indiana State are in the spots that they are.
Yeah.
But
Notre Dame's obviously above PFW because they beat them in a exhibition. I don't take a ton of weight from that, but that is a data point. We obviously couldn't have Purdue Fort Wayne above Notre Dame.
Yep.
And then we think Butler going to be really good this year. Think that they're going to surprise some people in the Big East, but I think that 1 and 2, Indiana and Purdue, were the ones that we were like could go either way.
Yeah, those were, I think, very much toss-ups. But I think we've talked about it a lot, between you and I. I think the big factor was the exhibition games, using those points, but also just the way that both teams approached the offseason. Indiana brought in a star-studded transfer class.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Tennessee, who is a perennially good team.
Yeah,
one of the best defensive teams in college basketball.
Mm-hmm. And Purdue, lost to Creighton, which Purdue also lost to Arkansas last year. That didn't mean anything. We're not saying that this is we're not saying that this is predicting this season in any way whatsoever. We're just saying these could have gone in either order. Indiana won their exhibition. Purdue lost their exhibition. Okay, Indiana should probably be number 1, and Purdue should probably be number 2 because of this data point, which we don't take a ton from, but that's kind of one thing we used for that.
Yeah, they both played ranked teams, preseason ranked teams. Yeah. They're both preseason ranked. It just came down to that's Indiana brought in a major class of experienced transfers. Purdue has a lot of freshmen who, Matt Painter always coaches freshmen well.
Mm-hmm.
But also they lost 2-time National Player of the Year, Zach Edey. So that's a big gap at quite literally, a big gap at the 5 spot. Painter hasn't figured out already who's going to be the starting 5.
Right.
But, there's for the general person some questions of which additional of the 3 7-footers on their roster will get the starting nod. Even if one of them starts, we might see Trey Kaufman run at the 5.
Right.
We don't know. And that was a big thing. There's just uncertainty there.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk more about that. But those are our power rankings. If you're all following us on Instagram or TikTok, or if you follow us on Twitter, you saw it. We put it out everywhere. Tell you, man, those comment sections are vile. I love it. My ego definitely does hurt, but let's talk about our first team. So let's get into the breakdown. Ball State. So we're just gonna go rip it in the same order that we did last year.
Yep.
We are simpletons. We have to go, in order here, so alphabetical order. So we'll just do a quick refresher. If you want to hear more in depth on each of these teams, we have previews on every single one of these teams. So we're not going to sit here for 20 minutes and talk about, each team. What you need to know is Ball State finished the Oh, wait, actually, if you didn't listen to our previews, this is probably going to come as a surprise to you. Normally, our ranking system was KenPom last year.
Oh, yep.
This year, we have decided to change it up and go with barttorvik.com and use Torvik's rankings because we feel like they're similar enough, and you can filter by state.
Yeah, you can filter by state. Makes it easy for us because we are simpletons. It's not a subscription service, so it's free.
We'll still be talking about the same stats relatively, and they'll be relatively the same. They're pretty comparable, but they finished last season 259th in Torvik, and they opened this season at 252. So I guess actually they moved since we did the preview. They are at 249. He projects them to go 14-13 this year overall, and go 9-9 in conference, which would be 7th in the MAC. They bring back guys like Ben Hendricks, Mickey Pearson Jr., and Mason Jones. They bring in Southern Indiana standout Jeremiah Hernandez. Joey Hart comes over from Kentucky, and Peyton Sparks comes back. So, good roster, and I think that they can be very successful. We said it in the preview on them, but we think this is a team that can contend for that MAC title and has aspirations to make it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we are very bullish on the Cardinals for sure. We're bullish on a lot of these teams, really. Want to talk about?
Yeah, let's talk about their games.
Yeah, so they start the season with Georgia State. They're traveling down to Georgia to play them in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. We talked about it last year and several times. The MAC Sun Belt Challenge, really cool thing that they do. They'll play, every team will play now at the start of the season. And then they'll play again kind of mid-season around, I don't know the exact dates, but January, February, towards the end of January, early February, usually. And each of those matchups are based on kind of conference projections.
Yeah.
So Ball State was projected to, be 7th in the conference. I think Georgia State was projected to be 12th, so relatively close in preseason rankings there. The winner of the challenge, the conference that wins the most games between the two sets, get a WWE style
wrestling belt,
which is odd for basketball, but really cool. So
it's funny that they went with the belt. That's just all the Sun Belt. But what could they have? Why didn't the winner get America? Right? They went with the Sun Belt.
They would have gotten Mid America.
The entire Middle America.
Yeah.
This is yours now.
Yep.
The Sun Belt.
It's like the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's like relegation, but the team the region gets relegated to the other. I'm all for the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. Anything that is going to give me a non-conference game after January is incredible, and
something that has stakes to it too.
Yeah, they're finished 200. They're projected 212th in Torvik. Georgia State is. I think it's going to be a tough game. What are they? Are they favored by? Georgia State's favored by 5.
Yep.
I think that seems fair.
Yeah, it's a home game for Georgia State. They are the higher ranked team, the better team on paper. But I think it's going to be a fun game for the Cardinals because there's a lot of new key points that like we talked about with the players.
Yeah.
So fun test to start the season for sure.
Yeah, definitely, a different look for the Cardinals with Jihad going and bringing back Peyton Sparks. But I think that, they could win that game. It's probably like probably the game of the week in Indiana because it's a game that like means more. Like it's not a bye game it's not we're not going in and playing a, top 20 team as like a 200 level Torvik team.
Yep.
And you're not bringing in a really, quote unquote crappy team. It's playing like someone comparable. It matters.
Mm-hmm.
It matters for the conference. And so that's what I like about it. Their other game is on the 8th. That's at 5 p.m. and it's against Franklin. So in-state matchup. We got an in-state matchup right there.
Yeah.
But Franklin's Division 3, they went 12-14 last year. Ball State should and will blow them out and just get to work on some rotations, get to work on, cleaning some things up after they look at the film from the Georgia State game. So
yeah,
nothing too exciting there other than it being in-state. So if you're a fan and want to go catch a game, those will be like the cheaper ones to go to, but not that you can find a ticket at Ball State for a very reasonable price anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to our next school, Butler. They are currently preseason ranked 75. They ended last season 57. They were an NCAA bubble team with about 2 weeks left in the season, and then their bubble burst like no other. They finished the season 18-15. They are projected to finish this season 8th in the Big East. We think that's going to be a little bit higher. Big East is recognized as the best conference in college basketball, so a ton of tough opponents, but the Bulldogs bring back a lot of key pieces. Jal Telfort, Pierre Brooks II, Andre Screen, Finley Bizjack.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought in guys like Colby King, who is a really good point guard, Pat McCaffrey, and then Jamie Kaiser as well from Maryland, Pat Bean from Iowa. So a lot of promise for this team. So we're excited to watch them. Let's talk to me about their first game.
So sorry, move down. Their first game is versus Missouri State. So they're favored by 16. That's on the 4th. So that's tomorrow. Oh my gosh, we're not recording. We're live.
Yeah.
So I have to, I'm used to saying like that's today, right?
Yeah.
For Monday games. That's tomorrow at 6:45. And, home. They looked good in their exhibition, I guess. And, Missouri State's 263rd in Torvik. Their offense is 312. So Butler's got an opportunity to, lock in on defense and just take care of business. They're looking like they're a bottom of the barrel Missouri Valley team. I mean, the Missouri Valley's bottom 2/3 is pretty wide open.
Yep.
But this is a team that Butler should handle. Like this is, a bye game. Absolutely. So Butler should handle it. I'm interested to see what the rotations are. We saw Finley at the 1, which I really liked. Pat McCaffrey has been looking great. I'm really excited about that. So I'm just going to be looking for, like in this game, just to see kind of who emerges, what the shooting looks like, and what that guard play, if Finley's still starting, looks like.
Yeah. Then their next game is on the 8th, I believe is Friday.
Yeah, that's Friday.
They play Austin Peay again, another bye game. They're favored by 18 points. Austin Peay they're 289 in Torvik, so again, a lower ranked team out of the A-Sun. Another game that Butler should just run away with it. Austin Peay is a very very low ranking offense and a pretty low ranking defense. They're a 329 defense and a 355 offense, so not a lot of points might be scored by Austin P, and a lot of points might be scored by Butler based on how that kind of breaks down. So again, really excited for them to have 2 home games in Hinkle.
Yeah, it's 2 games to, build some confidence because they do have some pretty they've got some pretty tough non-con games. One specifically that I'm thinking of, but we'll talk about that when that time comes. So you want to talk about our next team, Jaren?
The Aces.
Yeah, they are 231 in Torvik right now, and they finished last season. I was updating some things. 210. So move down a little bit. I mean, you lose our guy Ben Hummerkaus, who we had on the show. If you want to listen to him talk about his journey from Huntington all the way to the Big Ten. They played an exhibition. They beat Tiffin 86-60, and he's Italian. Gabriel Pizzato dropped 22 points, and he, looked really good. So, excited about him. He was one of those ones that I think we didn't know a lot about when we were doing our previews, and, hadn't fully known exactly the scope of what he's like, but they play on Tuesday. So they don't play on the first day. They play it Tuesday, and they are going to North Texas. So this is a tough team. I mean, North Texas is always a tough team to play against. They're always good defensively. North Texas is favored by 13 points. They're 87th in Torvik. So, I mean, they're going to be at the top of the American there, and it's going to be tough for Evansville to go in and win at North Texas. I don't think it's out of the question, but North Texas is probably going to be pretty good again this year.
Yeah, they're typically a really good team.
They're one of those ones that's like they're just never they never have a terrible year. I feel like.
Yeah. I think they even they've gone to the tournament 2 of the last 3 years, maybe, or that might be
Yeah, well, they were going with Grant McCasland, who's now at Texas Tech.
Yep.
But then I don't remember. I think they promoted his assistant. I'm not sure who they brought in. I'm probably wrong on that, but they haven't missed a step basically. And then their other game is on, what's that, Saturday, the 9th against Bresca. That's at 2 p.m. It's an NAIA team who went 8-15 last year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, should
handle it fine again.
Should handle it fine for sure. So they might go 1-1, but who knows? There's so much uncertainty about how Evansville is going to play, kind of their new pieces against UNT specifically. So definitely a fun one to watch.
Did our video go up?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We had technical difficulties we were trying to figure out.
So if you're watching on Twitter or our Twitch, I guess my Twitch channel, we've been live there, but our YouTube didn't live. So if you're joining us on YouTube, apologies. We'll upload the beginning half.
Yeah.
We'll upload the VOD so that you can catch up to where we're at. It's been a while, guys. We've been doing it for 58 episodes, and
we had to shift gears though.
Things still kind of don't go off without a hitch. So
I'll let you talk. I'll let you introduce this next team. We talked about Evansville. Now we're talking about IU.
Yep. So Indiana, if you recall, they are number 1 in our power rankings. They are Torvik, ranked 30 after ending last season ranked 83. So a big jump there. A lot of that has to do with the transfer portal haul that they had. Some big guys like
literally
Umar Barlow,
but
also key guards like Miles Rice, Cannon Carlisle, and then an absolute shooter, Luke Goody. They are projected to finish 6th in the Big Ten, but that's realistically tied for 2nd just based on the metrics. Again, we talked about that in our Indiana preview episode. You can go check that out to kind of listen more about how we break things down. but they are starting. Well, I guess their entire non-con is
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty easy. Should be pretty easy for the Hoosiers.
Except for their MTE is the only thing
Yeah,
where it gets like
except for their MTE.
marginally hard.
Yeah, yeah. So they open the season on Wednesday, the 6th, against Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. They are 25-point favorites. SIUE is a bottom half Ohio Valley Conference team. We'll get to talk about them later in the season when Southern Indiana plays them. But they're 321 in Torvik with a 339 offense and a 257 defense. So should not be a challenge for the Hoosiers. They should
No.
at minimum cover that 25 points. I would think. So
I sure hope so.
I will say one question mark shouldn't be an issue because it's middle of the week and there's been a lot of downtime, but Cannon Carlisle did not play in their exhibition against Marion last Friday due to a bruised rib. Or bruised ribs.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to keep people out of exhibitions if they have any sort of injury because there's no reason to play a game that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So the last update was within the last 24 hours that he's just kind of chilling, and everyone's optimistic that he could play against SIUE. But
the nice thing about this team as opposed to last year is you actually have people to back him up.
Yep, there is a lot of depth, so should not be a major concern either way. What about their second game, Adam?
Not very different on the makeup here. It's against Eastern Illinois on the 10th, which I guess would be what, Sunday?
Yes.
At 12 p.m. So noon game. They're favored by 24 points in that game. EIU is 305 in Torvik, so should absolutely blow this team out of the water, especially if this is an Indiana team that is going to be trying to win the Big Ten.
Yep.
Shouldn't even blink. I remember last year, Indiana was like close in their bye games, and it should not be the case this year. So Butler's actually going to see Eastern Illinois on December 3rd, and then USI will obviously see them twice in the conference season, but they don't have anyone over 6'10", so I would assume that Malik Renew and Umar Ballo just go ballistic.
Yep. Yeah.
And probably sit for half the game if it goes the way that it should. I mean, if you blow teams out, that's going to help your like net ranking when that publishes, so might as well do it.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it in our preseason episode or our preview episode on Indiana that like Ballo in general only averages like 20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Something like that. So you say he might sit half the game. Does that mean he will only play 10 minutes?
10 minutes, yeah. Hey, maybe. Hopefully. Listen, I am all for the deep bench guys getting heavy minutes in these games.
Yep. And Indiana's backup bigs also looked really good in the Marion exhibition. So potential promise there.
Let's talk about Indiana State, though, because, Indiana's first week is absolutely not interesting other than they get back into Assembly Hall twice. But Indiana State, they are 187th in Torvik, and last year they finished 42. Obviously, that is because they lost their top 6 options, and, they everyone went to different schools. The coach left, and this is the one that we said on our episode that we have the most questions about. Like, we just don't know because the roster's basically entirely new. I mean, you can project how they're going to look, but we have no idea like what the pieces are actually going to look like together. They do have shooters and stuff, and they should, if things fit together, they should be pretty good. And I think that they can kind of surprise some people and not seem like it's a full rebuild. But they actually are, probably the other probably the one of the 2 most, I guess, important games of the week is their first game in Ohio. What's it, Xenia, Ohio?
Yep.
Xenia, Ohio.
Xenia.
Against FAU. So that's on Monday. That's at 7:30, and FAU is favored by 6 points. The neutral site, but they're both teams are new coaches. I think both teams Did FAU also promote their assistant when Dusty May left?
I believe so.
So, I mean, very
believe
similar
so.
situations. Both great teams last year. Both should have been in the tournament if you ask me, but they're 106th in Torvik. And, I think we could see we could see a really, really good game, which is what we want on the first day of the season, because there's when we get to 49 states, you're going to learn there's not a lot. Not a lot the first day or the first week.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like you said, it's like a lot of question marks around FAU and Indiana State. So, the first game might not even tell us much.
Yeah.
Because no one really knows. It might be a couple weeks before we can really use that first game as a true predictor of how good they are, just because got to see what FAU is going to do in their non-con, and then what Indiana State's going to do. Still very exciting. I think that Indiana State has a lot of potential and opportunity to climb their way back up in our power rankings.
Yeah. We're just guessing.
Yep.
The best we can. Educated guess. Yep. Their second game, Jaren?
They play at home against Eureka.
Nice.
So this could be a Eureka moment for the
team's chemistry.
But they're a D3 opponent. They should handle that no problem.
Yeah, a D3 opponent that wasn't very good.
Yeah, they went 7-18 last year, so did not win a lot. But yeah, I think we'll talk about where we're going tomorrow.
We will be in attendance for IU-Indy. They are 354th in Torvik. I gotta remember I say Torvik every time. Telling Jaren when I was preparing for this, I was like, it's not built in yet. They are 354th. Obviously that's a lot, because that's basically where they were last season and the season before. And they bring in an entirely new roster, primarily from Division 2. And so, you look at that and you go, okay, that makes sense, I guess, if you're a computer, you're an algorithm projecting that. But we think that they're going to be pretty good and surprise some people, because in our episode with Coach, he said that they're not rebuilding. They're loaded, they're ready to go, and we believe that. They lost to Southern Indiana by 2 in a secret scrimmage. That's encouraging, because we think Southern Indiana is going to be pretty good too.
Yep.
But they play IU Columbus, which I believe is an NAIA team.
Yes, they're NAIA.
And that's at 11 a.m. Readers become leaders game. So we will be there down at the Farmers Coliseum catching this game with a bunch of third graders, and should handle them pretty easily, and have how far along their team chemistry is on full display.
Yeah, and then they turn around on the 8th, and play Xavier, who is a really good team. So Xavier did beat Notre Dame in a secret scrimmage. It was a weird scrimmage where they only played like 3.
Yeah, they've been doing some weird stuff. 3
possessions, or it was very odd. So Xavier won, but like it doesn't really tell us much about either Notre Dame or Xavier. We saw Notre Dame play an exhibition, and they looked outstanding, which is frightening, because if Xavier beat a team that looked outstanding to us, then that's going to be scary. But again, new IU-Indy team. Going to be fun to see kind of how they approach that game. They are 26-point underdogs to Xavier, who is preseason 59th in Torvik. So 55 on offense, a good offense, 71 on defense, pretty good defense. But they're a dark horse Final Four team.
Yeah, it's a team that a lot of people are like picking as could be like a Final Four team, if under the radar type of deal. I mean, Sean Miller's a great coach. They got Ryan Conwell.
Yep.
So we obviously all know how good he is.
Former Sycamore, for those who don't know. So definitely a easy way to start the season, but then a tough way to end week 1 for the Jags. But we're excited either way.
Yeah. I'm just happy to be there. I feel honored to have been invited to a game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we will let you know what we think
Yeah.
of the environment,
Yeah, you'll hear all about it next Sunday.
and we'll catch a new game in the new arena when it's built, but
Yeah.
we got to go down and see them now.
The OG.
Let's talk about Notre Dame. We mentioned them a little bit here in the last segment. They are 69th in Torvik.
Nice.
Nice. They beat PFW in a charity exhibition, 91-54. They shot 50% from three, and it was just such an awesome thing because there were a ton of Notre Dame fans who live. There's a ton of Notre Dame fans who live in Fort Wayne, and they got to go and see Notre Dame play, which is cool. Didn't have to leave their city, and tickets were reasonable, and I think that the cause was just incredible. Like the whole charity aspect of it was really cool. They only play one game this week though. That's for Stonehill College. That's on Wednesday at 7:30.
Yep.
They're favored by 23.
Yeah, it's should be pretty. It should handle Stonehill. They are Stonehill's 344 in Torvik, with a 345 defense. Which you have a team who is shooting 53% or 50% from three. Excuse me.
Against a good
Against
PFW team.
Pretty good PFW team. It'll be a lot of points scored. I project. But yeah, Notre Dame should absolutely cook.
Yeah, no doubt. And then they don't play another game. So talk about PFW, Jaren.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that segue. We went from IU-Indy, who's playing Xavier, who played Notre Dame, to Notre Dame, who played Purdue Fort Wayne, to now Purdue Fort Wayne. They are Torvik ranked 180 presently. They ended the season. Sorry, I'm scrolling because I wasn't following up. 166. So a little bit of a drop, but I don't see anything wrong with that.
Which is kind of surprising for me. I think it's because I think it's because they didn't on paper add a lot.
Yeah, they didn't really change.
I mean, they lost one of their starters, but they
Yeah.
bring back four. Normally, when you see them bring back like four starters, they are pretty solid. But I imagine there was just a lot of movement around them.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned with that drop because if you listen to our preview, we still believe they are going to win the conference handedly, and make their first NCAA tournament appearance. But they start the season on Monday at 7 p.m. against Bluffton, who is a D3 team that went 8-17 last season. So not a great team. I think this is a good way to build some confidence going into their second game, especially after playing Notre Dame and using that as a learning opportunity to figure out what they need to focus on going in. And who do they play in their second game, Adam?
So they play Bluffton, and then they have a really way more challenging of a game. They play UCF, and UCF is 57th in Torvik, so that makes Purdue Fort Wayne, based on Torvik's projections, 15-point underdogs. So we get a true road game here for the Dons. They won their true road game to start the season last year. I would love to see that again. I think UCF is definitely better than last year's DePaul team.
Yeah.
But I think that the experience on this team, on the Dons, guys like Bello and Q and Jalen and hardest working man in America, are gonna help, and guard matchups are gonna be key. Darius Johnson on Bello should be a pretty good matchup if that's how they have it, and I think that Notre Dame exhibition is really gonna help them because they've got playing a really good team under their belt already.
Yep.
So they shouldn't, not that they were going to be scared, but they shouldn't be scared at all of this UCF team. But it's not going to be an easy one for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's our next
Purdue take the Fort Wayne off and just move southwest to the Lafayette version of Purdue. Just plummeted in Torvik. They went from I don't know what they were, 3, 4, 2, 3 in Torvik down to 17th. You lose Zach Eady and it only drops you 14 spots. I mean, that tells you a lot about the good pieces around him and the good coach. So, they lost an exhibition. You don't really, if you know Matt Painter and you know Purdue, you don't take a lot out of exhibitions because Arkansas won and then Arkansas proceeded to absolutely suck last year and led to a coaching change. So Matt Painter knows what he's doing. He's not going in to win. He's going in to prepare his team, right? So don't take anything from that other than the fact that it pushed Indiana to number 1 in our rankings. But there was also another aspect to it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Braden dropped 31 points in that game. So Braden's back, I guess. And then they open up the season at home against Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Monday at 6 p.m. They're favored by 18. I would project them to cover, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be more than an 18-point game in Purdue's favor, obviously. Texas A&M Corpus Christi is 165 and Torvik, so not great. They've got a 143 defense, so an okay defense, I guess by those standards, and a 200 offense, so not great. This team has gone to the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3 years, so they missed last season, but the 2 previous seasons they went. They do have a really good player in Gary Clark, who's a preseason Southland Conference first team nominee. Could be a little bit of a nuisance. I don't see any concern. He's a 6'8" forward, so it really depends on, I think, how Purdue's roster and lineups shape up. But I think if he's far and away their best player, so if you can lock him down, then you're not going to have any problems.
Yeah, not a bad. I mean, you can just always throw Trey Kaufman-Renn right there and say, "All right, good luck, buddy."
Yep.
Like, this isn't the Southland.
Yeah. So, no concerns there about the Texas A&M Corpus Christi game.
What about their second game? It's NKU on Friday at 7 p.m. So they're favored.
They're favored by 17.2.
Woohoo.
So we'll call that an even 17. NKU is ranked slightly better than Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 156th in Torvik, with a slightly better defense and a slightly worse offense. They're 204th in offense and 129th in defense. They do have some pretty good wings, Sam Benson and Trey Robinson, who will probably do the most damage, if you can call it that. But again, not any concerns from us. Again, you've got a preseason All-American and
Big Ten player of the preseason player of the year.
Yeah, and Braden Smith. So
the thing I do like about these 2 games is that Matt Painter is scheduling more difficult by games, so to speak.
Yeah,
like they are, mid 100s as opposed to 300s and low 200s. So he's getting a bye game, but he's still testing his team because it's still going to be like a quad 4 game, but I would assume.
Yeah.
But, still a tougher matchup. And I like that because, he trusts his team and he knows what he's got. So good scheduling on Matt Painter here.
All right. Want to move on to the Screagles?
The Screegs. Yes. 309th in Torvik. And like we said, they beat IU-Indy in a secret scrimmage. You can take that at just like, oh, will they be better than IU-Indy? Maybe. But also there was a coaching connection there. Coach G used to coach at IU-Indy or IUPUI, I guess. Or no, at U-Indy.
Yeah,
U-Indy. And that's where Casaro came from. So they had the connection there. They opened the season at DePaul, just like PFW did last year. Not the same DePaul team as last year, right, Jaren?
Correct. This DePaul team is got a lot of potential.
Chris Holtman.
New coach, great coach. Contrary to recent.
I mean, the game's not being played in March, so
he's a lot better.
Yeah.
DePaul is favored by 16. They are 117th in Torvik with a 72 offense and a 195 defense. So pretty high powered offense, relatively speaking. Compared to last year, they started the season at 287, or they ended the season at 287. So that's a sizable jump for the for DePaul. They did play a close exhibition against a Division III Illinois Wesleyan. They won by 16. That's not close, but close in the standards of you're playing a D3 opponent, who was 19-8 last season. So who knows? They might not, be as good as people think. So there's a lot of opportunity there for Southern Indiana.
And for reference, Butler beat Illinois Wesleyan by 41 points.
Yeah.
So that's a good, comparison. Yeah. We love the transitive property here.
Yes, we do. But as we talk about their opening game, I want to take a minute to not show that side, so I don't dox us.
Don't dox us.
We have a package that we received that was from Southern Indiana men's basketball.
Yeah. Coach Sprue hooked us up, sent us a package, so we'll see what we got.
Okay, a lot of red. We don't have much. We're not
just blue and white.
We don't have much red around here, so that's promising. I mean, I'm gonna hide it with my laptop a little bit so I can unfold it.
It's looking good. I'll tell you that.
It is a brand new Southern Indiana Nike jersey that is size youth large.
That'll fit me like a glove, dude.
Number 1, because we are number 1 in Southern Indiana's hearts.
Hurtful.
I said we are number 1 in Southern Indiana's hearts.
I know, but that means we're 43rd in Indiana State's hearts.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a 1 for Purdue, Fort Wayne, a 1 for Southern Indiana, and a 43 from Indiana State. No, literally the numbers don't make a difference. It's just
that thing is a youth large.
It's a large.
No way is that thing a youth large.
It's not an adult large.
Yes, it is. Let me see that thing.
The size really doesn't matter either. We're not going to wear it. It is going to be displayed on our wall. It actually might be an adult large.
That'd be the big. You know what? I'm gonna put it on. I'm not gonna put it on. That's beautiful.
But yeah, it's an incredible gift. Thank you, Coach Sprue. Thank you, Sam Mervis.
Got the Skreeg on the back.
We love and appreciate you both and everyone else with the Screaming Eagles program.
My man's called it a youth large. Everybody, that's my favorite size.
What?
You don't remember being a youth large? Felt good,
Oh, that was at least 20 years ago.
I was a pretty tall kid. I was like, the shirts were.
I was a chubby kid.
See, my shirts were so like baggy, but like they had to be so large. Finding pants as a kid, nightmare.
Oh yeah,
nightmare.
Oh, yeah. But that jersey will go on our wall
somewhere
at some point. We're still working on
a
few other things. We're gonna figure out the best way to display the jerseys specifically, since they have been gifted to us by the respective programs. So we'll get that up. But
would be diabolical as if another team saw that we rearranged and put the jersey up and then sent us a jersey, so then we had to rearrange immediately. Diabolical.
I'd hate it. I would hate it.
I would hate if that happened.
But okay, their second game. Talked about their season opener. We talked about the gift opening that we did. In my head, that sounded better. So game 2, they play on Thursday against Bucknell. They are favored by 1 point at home. But I don't think that 1 point takes into consideration how poppin' Screaming Eagles Arena is going to be for their season home opener. Bucknell is 254 in Torvik. They were 271 last year, and they went 14-19. So honestly, competitive. I think it'll be a competitive game. Obviously, a 1 point spread. So on paper, definitely going to be competitive, but an evenly matched team for the Screaming Eagles to kind of get a feel for things.
Yeah, I'm glad that we get some teams playing a team that's like, should be comparable.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. But you want to talk about our last team? Bringing up the rear as always. Last but certainly not least is Valparaiso. They are 256th in Torvik, and they ended last season 294th. And this is one of the ones that we talked about with health issues, because we are looking at Torvik being 256th, and that takes into account everything that we considered with this team was that Isaiah Stafford was healthy. We don't know that he's going to be healthy to start the season, and because he's like maybe out, and we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything clear and definitive on it, but they need him. Like, they need him dramatically, right?
Yep.
But they won. Without him, they played Ball State and won 95-86. So Ball State's a really good team that we think is going to be good in the MAC, and they beat them in the scrimmage, if you want to, read into that at all. But they open the season at Liberty at 5 p.m. on Monday. That's a neutral site game. Where is it then? It's First Liberty.
It's in Xenia as well.
Oh, yes, that's right. They open. Yes, that's right. So It's the first game before the Indiana State game.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yes.
So they're Liberty is 7-point favorites, so they're underdogs there. Liberty is 123 in Torvik, so should tell you a little bit that there's 100 points, 100 places away from each other, but they're 7-point favorites, or they're 7-point dogs to Liberty, so they should be, contending. I think that they're going to be better than that 256, especially if Stafford is healthy. But they have 2 Schwiegers now, and so they're twice as good.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I think so. What about their last game this week?
They play Concordia out of Michigan on Friday at 8 p.m. They are an NAIA team from Ann Arbor that went 9-19 last season, so should be a cakewalk for Valpo.
Yeah, should absolutely be able to run up the score there and not need much help.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it.
That's
for that segment. We have now that's feels about right, We normally normally we're breaking down the episode, the games. Haven't had any. Yeah,
No.
So we're doing a preview. So a little bit different, but now it's time to check in on the other 49 states. So Jaren, you've got something you want to talk about here.
Yeah, so before the season started, right, we talked about these teams. We gave our power rankings, talked about some of the stars that each of these teams had. And as we talk about the other 49 states, I wanted to outline the preseason All-American list. I think that's relevant, something to, not a lot of people are in touch with the broader. Like if you follow one of these teams, you might not be thinking about the other teams or players out there.
Yeah.
We are big fans of John Rothstein. He does in fact know ball, and he's just absolutely hilarious. So we pulled his preseason All-American list. I'm just gonna run through it. First team, second team, third team, and then honorable mention, and call a few names out there. But the first team, Hunter Dickinson from Kansas. I just can't believe he's still in college, first of all. He's been in college for like 17 years. Johnny Broom out of Auburn. Caleb Love, another guy that I feel like has been around forever, from Arizona.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
RJ Davis, North Carolina. He will be their best player this season. Mark Sears from Alabama, again, will be their best player. So five studs there. Second team, Ryan Kalkbrenner. We saw him play against Purdue in the exhibition. He plays at Creighton.
Side note, did you see when they played, or before they played Creighton, somebody posted the picture that Kalkbrenner took on his visit to Purdue? Did you see this on Twitter?
No.
So yeah, when Kalkbrenner was being recruited pretty heavily, by Purdue, and obviously worked out. They got Zach Edey. I would take Zach Edey over Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think anyone would. But they posted like his pictures from his visit, and it was just so weird. One, because obviously he was younger, so it just looked weird already. But then he was wearing like the white and the black, and I was like, what is going on, dude? This just looks so wrong. Like seeing like Caleb Love in like the Indiana on his Indiana visit where he's like wearing the red, it just looks so wrong. It just looks so weird seeing people in like the jerseys that they just should not be wearing.
Yeah. No, it's I didn't see it, but I kind of wish I had now. I might have to scroll back and look for it. But also on the second team, Norchad Omier, who transferred from Miami, right?
Yes.
That Baylor now, but a transfer from Miami. Cooper Flagg from Duke. He's a freshman, and he's just
probably gonna be the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, shaping up to be a generational talent.
One of the picks for Player of the Year.
Yeah,
like the favorite at this point, which is kind of crazy. He's only 17
as a freshman.
Again, I want to see it. It's one of those things. I want to see it.
Yeah,
I know people are like, it's real, but I just want to see it.
Some people have him as a first team pick. John Rothstein has him as second team. Kadari Richmond from St. John's, going to be a stud. And then rounding out the second team, Braden Smith from Purdue. So preseason All-American.
He's going to be an All-American.
I think he'll at minimum be second team. Yeah. I think he can compete for first team as well.
Yeah. There's just a lot of good guards in that first team.
Yeah. Third team, Graham Ike from Gonzaga, Alex Caravan from UConn. Potentially going to be a 3-time national champion.
Insane.
Cam Jones from Marquette. LJ Cryer from Houston, Wade Taylor the fourth from Texas A&M. And the honorable mention list, Umar Ballo from Indiana, Great Osabor from Washington, John L. Davis at Arkansas, formerly of, I guess, all three of those first 3 honorable mentions are transfers. Hunter Silas, Wake Forest, and then Hammond Lipsey at Iowa State. Wild to think that only Iowa State's only on this list once. I know that there's not any repeat schools, I guess, but like
Iowa State's supposed to be good.
Yeah, Iowa State's going to be really good, and their best players only honorable mention. So that's interesting.
That's just TJ, man. TJ Otzelberger got that thing rolling. He just knows.
Yep. So
I expect, so here's my thing. I expect Braden Smith to absolutely be on the second team at least, like you said. His scoring is going to go up. His assists might go down. But if Fletcher's hitting his shots and, they've got guys like CJ Cox and bucket getters like him and Jakari Harris, and he might not, lose too many assists there if it's automatic with Trey Kaufman-Renn. I could see it just rolling great. And then Ballo, honorable mention is totally fair. Totally fair for me. I think he's going to be great. Woodson has done great things with big guys, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the games next week outside of Indiana.
Yeah. So if you don't remember, if this is your first time tuning in, we kind of pick a game of the day because sometimes there's so many. And this is like, if you can only watch one game on Monday that's not an Indiana school, what game should you sit down and watch? Which game should you prioritize? And the first week it's kind of lacking in games, but there are some good ones. And so we're going to pick the ones. We'll tell you which ones we think you should.
Lacking in quality games, not lacking in games. They're like 180 games on Monday alone.
So our Monday game of the day, the game you should watch is number 19 Texas versus Ohio State. That's at 10 p.m. and it's in Las Vegas. Texas is favored by 2.5, but Diebler picked up this team from Holtman last year and immediately knocked off Purdue and Michigan State.
Went on an absolute tear to end the season.
Completely earned the job, and I think they can be pretty good. I don't like people are talking about like could be like top 30 level. I'm not convinced of that yet, but they'll be competitive in this game, I hope. So Texas versus Ohio State in Las Vegas is one that we have circled for Monday.
Yep. Tuesday we've got Florida International at Rice. That's at 7 p.m. Rice are 7-point favorites. There are a lot of games on Monday.
Yeah. There's like less than 20 on Tuesday.
Yeah, so picking games for the Tuesday slate was not easy. But hey, Rice did get a big football win.
Yeah, won over Navy
last week, or yesterday. Yesterday. Again, we usually put these out on Mondays, so it's technically would have been last week.
What are days?
So shout out to Rice. Maybe they could take that momentum onto the basketball court on Tuesday.
Yeah, hopefully they're playing different players, but hopefully the school keeps the momentum. Wednesday, our game of the day. Here's a good one for all our mid-major lovers here. It's Coppin State at High Point at 7 p.m. Now I'm going to tell you the line here. It's High Point is favored by 24 points. But the reason why I picked this game is High Point is supposed to be like one of the best mid-majors this year. They received one vote in the AP Top 25 this year. They're a top 100 team in Torvik, and they should be the team that makes it out of the Sun Belt into the NCAA tournament. So we're trying to put you on a team that should be playing in March so that you know about them when you can pick them to upset somebody in the first round and be like, why'd you pick High Point? And you're like, because I know ball, right? Because Adam and Jaren told me. So Coppin State at High Point. Watch High Point ball out.
Yep. And then Thursday, we've got some more mid-major action. Milwaukee at Northern Iowa at 8 p.m. UNI is favored by 8. But that's also it's a top Horizon League team versus a top Missouri Valley Conference team. So that should be exciting to watch. Give a little good little comparison between the two conferences. And then as an honorable mention, we've got McNeese State playing the College of Biblical Studies at 8:30.
not even big. That's just the funny sentence to say. That's so good. And then we get our only top 10 matchup of the week on Friday, so we had to give that to you. So definitely tune into that at 7 p.m. on Friday. We have number 9 North Carolina at number 1 Kansas. Jaren talked about it. They've got John Rothstein's first team All-American, 47-year-old Hunter Dickinson at Kansas, and then also really old RJ Davis at North Carolina. So Kansas is favored by 5. They're always favored at home. It's the best game of the week. I mean, tune in before you watch college football the next day on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, that's those are our games to check out next week.
What about
for the
Saturday?
49 states.
And Sunday.
Yeah, I was scrolled down. Whoops. Saturday got Auburn at Houston. Top 25 matchup, top 15 matchup, really. Auburn is ranked 11th at Houston, ranked 4th at 9:30 p.m. Houston are 4-point favorites. And this is, really cool to see an SEC Big 12 first week matchups.
Especially good teams. And then Sunday, we've got Michigan at Wake Forest at 1 p.m. Wake is, according to Torvik, they're a top 35 team. The top 35 teams, both of them, they're a half-point favorite on Torvik. So that's interesting. Should be a tight game. So watch Michigan at Wake Forest at 1 p.m. on Sunday if you have some time between your football.
All right.
Are you ready for this next part?
No. In more ways than one, no.
This is going to be this is always the most embarrassing part.
Okay,
where I expose myself.
For those of us, or for those of
for
you.
those of us, for me and Jaren, and also you, because you're here with us.
We like to do this fun thing called Guess the Game, where Adam will give me a very obscure hint regarding a matchup, and I try to guess who that is. Then I, in turn, will do the same. It's always just, there's going to be some downtime You'll hear us. I mean, sorry, you won't hear us say much. Because our little brains are spinning away trying to think what the heck did.
You'll be able to imagine the little monkey clapping in my head with those
Yeah,
symbols. You know,
yeah.
Gotta put some WD-40 on the old gears in the noggin, get it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't calculate our records from last year. We probably have it somewhere, but I was not going through.
I think we tied.
Something nice. We're both 0-0. So, do you want to guess first, or do you want to give me the game first?
I want to guess first.
Okay. Let me pull up my notes here. So, my game, Jaren, my clue for you. And we've never picked the same game, right?
Correct.
Or maybe we did one time and you had a backup game. I don't remember. It was, or like you almost did. We almost did.
Yeah.
Okay, so my clue for you is this is the Battle of the Palmetto State. The Battle of the Palmetto.
I
What do you think about some palm trees?
California.
Okay. But that's not the Palmetto State. That's the Golden State.
What's the Palmetto State? I've never even heard of the Palmetto State. Is it like South Carolina?
Yep. They got a palmetto tree on their flag.
Okay. Didn't know that was called a palmetto, to be quite honest with you. So South Carolina. Not the school, but we got Auburn.
No, that is not in South Carolina. That's in Georgia.
You're right.
You can put them on there. We can move them. Petition to move Auburn.
I was thinking Clemson. I'm sorry.
You're thinking of football school.
I was thinking Clemson. They're all the same to me. The SAC.
Isn't Clemson in the ACC?
Yes. That's how scrambled my brain is.
That's
how scrambled my brain is right now. I'm thinking of a million schools.
I'm giving you too many things.
Is it South Carolina?
That is one of the teams.
Okay. South Carolina against South Carolina Upstate.
Just South Carolina State Bulldogs at South Carolina Gamecocks, 7 p.m. South Carolina State.
South Carolina Upstate's a real school, right?
I don't know. Is it a Division I school?
South Carolina Upstate is a real school.
Yeah, I mean, you knew it probably wasn't going to be Clemson.
Yeah. Okay.
South Carolina State. The Bulldogs at the Gamecocks at 7 p.m. I forgot to write the date.
South Carolina State or South Carolina Upstate is they're in the Big South.
Okay. Learning new things. That would have been one heck of a poll. Would have been one heck of a poll.
All right. So
let me update your record now.
0-1.
So Jaren, I'm just gonna write Jaren didn't get it right so that I can remember that I'm not gonna update the record on here. Jaren did it not in all caps. Get it right. I'm absolutely gonna get it wrong now just for that. All right, hit me.
You were gonna get it wrong either way. All right.
I'm ready.
Have I'm trying to I want to word it the best. I didn't write the wording down. I just wrote the game.
Well, then just tell me the teams.
No. We've got the Battle of the Big Cats over some cheesy peaches.
Battle of the Big Cats over some cheesy peaches. Okay, so I'm thinking of a team in Wisconsin, and I'm thinking of a team in Georgia. We got cheese and we got a peach.
Wait, we're both stupid. Never mind. We're both stupid. That's a terrible hint.
How am I stupid?
Well, because a couple minutes ago,
So I was thinking Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, but
But you thought they were in
Auburn's not
South
in Georgia.
Carolina.
Auburn's also not in Georgia.
Okay, yeah, they're in Alabama.
And the game was an Auburn game. It was Vermont versus Auburn. Vermont cheese.
Okay.
I literally I had it written down Georgia because we're both just stupid.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I also that's why I thought Auburn before. Because I was thinking Clemson, but I was like, no, I was looking at Auburn because I was looking at my notes. And Auburn is in fact not in Georgia. They're in Alabama. So,
yeah, because they're rivals with Alabama.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, we're idiots.
Dude,
so,
okay, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia.
It's
all completely blend together to me. That 3-block section before I have to drive through to get to Florida, like all blend together.
Yep.
All blend together.
Yep. So, anyways, Vermont at Auburn on Wednesday, 8 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Auburn is 13-point favorites.
So what do we call that on the record sheet?
I think, do we just call it null?
Then our records are going to be different.
We could just throw out week 1. Week 1 just doesn't. It's preseason. Then we can't even.
He wouldn't want to throw out week 1 if he had gotten it right. All of a sudden, he doesn't get it right. He wants to throw it out.
Fine. If it would make you feel better, you can give yourself a win. Yes. Because by default.
Okay, in my notes, I'm gonna put
Jaren's an idiot.
Jaren build a clue. Okay.
But I was going for Georgia peaches, Vermont cheese.
I was picking up with what you were going on.
Auburn's the Tigers. Yeah. Vermont are the Catamounts. The Cougar.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I would have gotten there if the clue, because I was thinking Wisconsin. I was going Wisconsin.
Yeah. I got me saying Big Cat.
Yeah.
Barstool Big Cat makes you think Wisconsin.
Well, it's just that's what I think of with cheese, right? Just like that's what got me cheese. Wisconsin.
Yeah. That's
the cheese place, right?
That's fair. Like, Vermont cheddar, dog.
I just think the best moment we've ever had in Guess the Game is the only thing I can think of. Idaho's potatoes. That's an all timer. That's got to be a T-shirt. Just potatoes. We don't have to. I mean, we already previewed games, so we are going to be at IU Indianapolis tomorrow.
If you're there, hit our DMs.
Yeah. We'll say what's up.
Try and meet up. Say hi to our fans. We do find joy in that. That is joyful for us.
So we would love to. Yeah, we'd love to meet any of you, and I'm excited to see some Jags in action here. I'm pumped.
Without a doubt.
We're pumped about the Casaro era. If you listen to our episode on them, you would know that.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, go do so. Shout out to Coach Sprue at Southern Indiana for hooking us up with a youth large jersey, as Jaren said. Youth large.
It looked small, but it said large. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Those basketball players, I don't know sizes. Fit.
I'm a 2X. I don't.
Today's
smaller than that. Like
I feel like today's larges were like yesterday's mediums. No.
Yeah. Something like that.
Shirts are getting smaller.
Something like that. Okay. Anything else, Adam?
9-win Indiana. It's real. That happened.
Indiana football has accomplished 9 wins.
Did you see that? Okay. Indiana's 14-point favorites against Michigan at home. Did you see the line for Purdue at Ohio State?
Is it like 35?
Like 38.5. And like two completely following everyone from all these different schools on Twitter, you see everything. And it's like Indiana's over here celebrating, and then Purdue people are like, I'm not taking us to cover. Like, dude, that just hurts so bad. It's I just gotta pick the team that is like doing well, like follow. But nope, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, the clock is showing quadruple zeros, so it's time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next week. And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.